Well, I want to get into your story now. So growing up in Chicago in the 80s, and you talk about the gang situation, that's when you had the Larry Hoovers and the Jeff Forts. And now, I interview a lot of, you know, gang affiliated rappers from Chicago, and they all tell me the same thing. There's little pockets here, there's a crew here, there's a street here, there's a block here, there's 10 people here, but there's really no overlying structure in gangs in Chicago. But if you go back to your time, Larry Hoover would literally bring thousands of people out.
Yeah, yeah. I grew up in a neighborhood where it was L. Rookers, Jeff Ford. So and then I grew up I used to go to school where Larry Hoover had his Black Gangster Disciples. So, I knew both gang members. And once they knew my dad, because my dad grew up not in the gang, but knowing Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford. And once they found out who I was and where I come from, I had like a little pass. So like I said, I was sheltered because of my dad. He was a playground legend, and all his friends, they was playground legends, and they was around it, and they knew them personally. And so like I said, I was very, very fortunate in them times where a lot of people wasn't.
Okay. You went to college, and then you were a first round draft pick, and you joined the Golden State Warriors. What was it like to go from a kid in Chicago to suddenly being in the NBA, having money, and having your whole life change?
Different. It was different. But I grew up playing against NBA ball players all my life. Ricky Green, Isaiah Thomas, Doc Rivers, J.J. Anderson, Jeff Wilkins, and so on and so forth. Eddie Johnson, Terry Cummings, him and I went to the same school at Carver High School. It was just a whole lot. Mark Aguirre, Cassie Russell went to my high school too, and he used to come back and talk to us. So it was a lot of people, man, yeah. that I played with, and I just talked to and understood, how to just take care of myself. And they showed me the ins and outs. And I listened. Back then you listen to the older guys. You listen to the guys that played before you, even if it was 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you listen to those guys because they was there before you, and they went through the bumps and bruises that you're about to go through. And so moving out there, I was always by myself in El Paso. Even though you in a college town, even though you're among teammates, but you still new, and I had to find my way when I was a freshman in El Paso, and the people there welcomed me with open arms. They was gracious, they was respectable, and they took care of me, just like the people in Golden State and Oakland. At that particular time, drugs was really, really, really bad. And, a lot of people, NBA guys, Chris Washburn, thank God he got his life together. But, he was, he was on drugs really bad. And, when I went out there, I coming from Chicago, I understood, who was cool, who wasn't cool, who was a drug dealer, who wasn't a drug dealer, where to stay away from, who to stay away from, and all that type of stuff. And, coming to a big city and to the Bay Area, I was very comfortable, and I understood what to do and what not to do. So, just making money, all I want to do is just take care of my mom, take care of my brother, because we struggled a lot, and it hurts, to go through that struggling period. But, that taught me to be a man and how to be a man at a young age, and taught me what I need to do and how I need to do it, and what was important to me. And my mom and my brother, and taking care of them was very important to me. So that's why I always brought, had this motto in me. Patience is a virtue, and don't try to speed stuff up. Let speed take its time. because it's gonna come to you. You know, and don't try to speed something up, because I tell these kids today, you know, going to school, you know, 2, 3, maybe 4 years is not a bad idea if you're not ready. Because if you're not ready and you go early, you can't go back to school. You go back to school, get your degree, but playing basketball, that's over with. You got to go overseas. You got to go to the G League. Your purpose is not to go to the G League. Your purpose is not going overseas. Your purpose is to try to get in the NBA. So take your time, work on your craft, understand what you need to do on how to grow up and become a grown-up before you step out into that world. Because once you out of that limelight of college where you still are sheltered, once you out of that limelight, you're on your own, and a lot of people are not prepared for that. So I was prepared for it because I went to school 4 years. I listened to a lot of people, and you know, they educated me a lot. So I was good. I was good.